Hello, friends, and welcome to the Cinemondo podcast with those guys.
These other two people.
Pregnant pause.
Kathy, and then further down, Mark.
And then Burke. I don't know why we're pointing the wrong way. This is all mirrored.
I know it's mirrored backwards. I feel like
Very
I want to.
confusing.
Yeah.
We don't look like we don't know what we're doing. Okay, so Halloween.
Yeah.
It's almost time for Halloween again, and it's almost time for a Halloween movie. There's lots of Halloween in the air. I loved Halloween. It's one of my most favorite movies ever. The original by John Carpenter. It was its first of its kind.
Yeah,
that movie is a hot rod of a film. There's nothing
elegant.
extraneous in that film. There's not a wasted frame. It's one of those films that I think could be called a perfect movie.
I would say it is. It's a template.
And there's a few John Carpenter films that have that distinction. I think that just you watch it and you're like, there's nothing that could make this movie better.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of my it's one of our touchstone films. And so whenever a new Halloween, I mean, of course, it's got iterations. The latest one has been the films directed by David Gordon Green, who did Halloween Kills and the Halloween before that, and this last one, which might be the very last one. I'm gonna guess it won't be. But
no way.
David Gordon Green wrote and directed it. It stars, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis. Maybe she'll get out of the hospital bed in this one and be like the main character.
Yeah.
Will Patton, Kyle
Maybe
Richards.
she'll have hot dog fingers.
That movie is so nuts.
So it's a lot of the same characters and a lot of the same people behind the scenes that did the last two films. But this is kind of the end of the trilogy for them, and that's coming out obviously right around Halloween. And we've been sort of, I would say, tepid, maybe, talking about the last couple of films at best.
A little critical, maybe.
I think they are obviously fans, and they're trying to recapture that vibe of the first film, or maybe even the first two films. For me, they just don't get it. I mean, they try, but it doesn't work.
They've given themselves a task that I wouldn't want. It's like, here, take this, what we just called a perfect film, and try to do a riff on it. It's like whatever you do, it's like, oh, I think I want to do a cover album of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Let's see if it's better than the original. It's like, no, it's not going to be better than the original. And not because your playing isn't good or your singing isn't good. It's not as good as the original because the original was original when it appeared. And any attempt to sort of redo that is just, it's automatically got that underneath it. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but it's not new.
No, but it's beloved. And
it's
so you
beloved.
have a built-in brand. They want to capitalize on a horror brand that is very profitable because you don't need to have a big budget to make these films. And in fact, I think a lower budget is a attribute for these films because the lean, mean production gives you less distraction with big, epic, dumb stuff that isn't really part of the slasher, lineage. So I think that's, and we'll see how this trailer looks. I expect more of the same, but I think that's why this Halloween trilogy didn't really work for me, is that I feel like you need to make it smaller and more personal instead of bigger and louder, like a Friday the 13th movie.
That's what so many horror filmmakers really need to study is they need to, I know they love John Carpenter's Halloween, but do they really, really understand what makes it so powerful and what makes other movies that are so powerful? Like when you talk about the list of movies that are like the most effective horror films of all time and think about them, a lot of them are not huge budgets. A lot of them take place in a house or in a neighborhood, like The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby. I always mention those. Even more recent films like It Follows or Absentia or Hereditary or any of these. There's no, the houses don't explode in those, and there's not a whole block that collapses and then, giant things come flying out of the ground. It's like no, it takes something like Absentia is a great example for me. You could make that film with your cell phone. If you could use your iPhone and make a film like that. There wasn't any super elaborate special effects in it. that's not what makes a film a horror film to me. And when you watch the original Halloween, it's a neighborhood, it's a house, it's people in a car, it's
Right.
a mental hospital.
Basically
But
for a few scenes outside of that, but most takes place on one block.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. So let's watch this trailer and see if any of our
Yes.
predictions come true.
Okay,
let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have the clapper.
All right.
Are we ready?
Are we ready? I'm ready.
Let's do it.
There's a neighborhood.
Little hint of the soundtrack.
Yep.
And did the original opening of the original film here. Point of view going into a house.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Come and get me, motherfucker.
She got in a good shot.
October.
All right. Yeah, October. It's a perfect time for it. Okay. Well, we saw a lot of scenes from the original, which warms my heart, which I love.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that Jamie Lee Curtis looks like a badass again, which is like, why would you have it any other way? Honestly,
I know.
Right.
and like she doesn't look like some crazy hippie person living in a basement, which is what the first movie looked like.
Right.
She looks really badass and cool, and I'm really I'm optimistic, but it still has a tendency to look like it wants to get big, but it did keep it kind of in the neighborhood, in the house. Which
It would be nice if they kind of like, let's revert back to the first. We're kind of coming back,
Mhm.
you
Full
know,
circle
right,
kind of
full
thing.
circle,
Yeah.
and sort of make it just small, a couple of houses, a couple of characters, and maybe that's what it is, you know. And if
kill off
that's
some
it,
teenagers.
yeah, exactly. I'm always promised, you know, I'm always optimistic too, and that's when you
Yeah.
get let down. So
I know, yeah.
I'll temper my optimism and hope for the best.
Well, I know that I was my expectations were sky high when the first one came out that David Gordon Green directed, because I feel like they talked about how much they loved it. The trailer, when you're watching the original trailer and you hear that music, that great Halloween
Yeah.
music come in, you're just like, I get goosebumps. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be so good. And I like that they upgraded everything. I'm like, this is gonna be so good. And I saw it and went, this was not good. What
Yeah.
happened? It got too big and crazy and loud. And then the second one came and it was double that. And they sidelined Jamie Lee Curtis for the whole movie, which was pointless because
And
the whole thing is
showed
about.
Michael Myers' face, which was so
And they showed him as some old sad man, and it was just terrible. So I hated that. So seeing this, like I don't know if they really learned the lesson, because I think the movie did pretty well. So who are they trying to please at this point? But
yeah.
I love that they look like they're taking it. Jamie Lee Curtis being a badass, back to the original house. Michael Myers and her face to face. Let's just have this be what it is. It's about their fight.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, Jamie Lee Curtis is great.
Oh.
She's always fun, and she doesn't work enough. I don't think she's done so
Yeah.
many different types of things. She got typecast, I guess, as Laurie Strode and all that, and
Yeah.
she's the horror queen, scream queen, one of the original scream queens, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
aside from that, she's quite good in everything she does. She's really good in drama and surprise, not surprisingly, but unexpectedly really good in comedy. She's really funny, like in some films we've seen recently, like Knives Out and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
A Fish Called Wanda way back when. So,
And
Yeah.
exactly. But she's good, and she needs to be. I mean, why not use her if you have her in your film? Why just kind of sit her somewhere and have her do nothing? She can carry a film, obviously.
if it's
And it's
her
true, like-
versus, I was going to say, if it's her versus Michael Myers for the big portion of the film,
Yeah,
I'm in. You don't have to
Totally.
go much more than that, honestly.
Yeah.
that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I just have an instant visceral reaction when I see like a plot line leading to someone laying in a hospital bed. I'm instantly like, I feel like I want soap opera land. I want to
Yeah.
see a
It
hospital.
also
I don't want to
feel-
be in
it
a
also-
hospital.
It also feels
like,
like, a placeholder. Like you said, this is one
Yeah.
of those. It's like she's not going to be in this one, so why do
We'll
I care?
take a break here, have her in a
Yeah.
bed. She was here to shoot for one day. We'll just have it all in the hospital bed. It'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to see her up and about and being a badass because that's what we want.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe they're going to do it
I'm
this
gonna
time.
say I'm gonna be encouraged, but
Me
I'm
too.
gonna temper the encouragement because of reality, and also, studios come in and say, "Hey, we need bigger and better to make the money." So that's
It does.
Yeah.
That is. There's a
that
bigger,
is-
better thing going
part
on.
of
with
that
this
is
movie
John
for sure.
Carpenter didn't have to deal with that when he was making
He
that
did not.
first film. So
No.
we'll
And
see.
then those horror, the franchise characters, Jason, Freddy, The Shape, and those kind of things got so absurd there for a while when they started making, like Jason in space and outer space and all this kind of stuff, and it was like that. I guess people like those. I mean, I think people like them for the campy appeal.
Yeah, the
now.
camp factor.
Alien
But it's
versus
something
Predator.
different. Because how often can you
Yeah.
have the same character running around in the woods killing people? You got to take him out. But in outer space, it's
Yeah.
the
Exactly,
next
yeah.
frontier.
Yeah.
But this will be grounded. This will be. They know what they know what they want. Whether they can do it,
Exactly.
studio interference. If they have the chops, we'll see. I think
I
Well,
always
I
wanted to
love-
see one on a plane, on an airplane. Like snakes on a plane, but it's
Yeah,
like
Halloween on a plane.
Jason on a plane, or
That's actually-
Michael.
They're transporting him to another like high security prison, and he gets loose on a plane. That would be
gets
Halloween
loose.
flies.
that movie would be 5 minutes
Yeah.
long while he butchers everyone.
Right.
Halloween-
and then takes over the control of the airplane and lands it back at the mental hospital.
I've seen all the other ones. I will see this one.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Whether I like it or not.
Halloween ends. It's a Halloween tradition
All right.
coming soon. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody. See you guys soon.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.